Hi dear students, welcome back to another session of English. We are dealing with chapter 1, When I Was a Child. As I said earlier, here we will be learning about the childhood memories of some of the famous writers. In section 1, we learned about R.K. Lakshman's childhood and his love for cartoons. Today we will be looking into section 2, A Visit to the Doctor by Roald Dahl. The title of the lesson, A Visit to the Doctor, gives goosebumps, right? Yes, because many of us are still afraid to go to the doctor or the hospital. This chapter tells us about an operation without even giving an anesthetic to the patient. Let us read the chapter and understand the writer's experience from the story. The point to be noted is, here the patient is a child. A Visit to the Doctor. Roald Dahl is perhaps the most famous children's writer in recent years. Here is a memorable extract from his autobiography. As I said earlier, the writer of this story is Roald Dahl, a British novelist and short story writer. He is famous for his children's book. This story is taken from his autobiography. Let's start. As I always say, first I'll read and then I'll explain. A visit to the doctor can be a very frightening one for a little child, especially when he sees needles, knives and scissors lying around. I once had to make a visit to a doctor for an operation when I was with my grandparents in Oslo, in Norway. And I have never forgotten it. We were visiting my grandparents' house during the summer holidays when my mother said to me, "We are going to the doctor this afternoon. He wants to look at your mouth and nose." "What is wrong with my mouth and nose?" I asked. "Nothing much," my mother said, "but I think you have got adenoids." Dear students, visiting a doctor is very frightening, and especially when you see the instruments like knives, scissors, needles. As a child, many a time when you do some mischievous thing, your parents gave you warning. "If you don't listen to me, I'll take you to the doctor, uncle, and he will give you injection." So such an experience happens with the writer in Oslo, a place in Norway, where he was at his grandparents' house for the summer holidays. One day his mother says to him that they are going to the doctor to show his mouth and nose. But he said, "What's wrong with my mouth and nose?" Mother said to him, "She thinks he have got adenoids." Now, that was a difficult word for an 8-year-old. So I asked her, "What are they?" Adenoids was a word which was difficult for him to understand, and maybe for you also, dear students. Actually, adenoids are the sore growth between the back of the nose and the throat. Now, they are like tonsils. Usually kids have it, and the doctor asks them not to eat junk food or ice creams. She told me not to worry about it, as it was nothing. I held her hand as we walked to doctor's house. When we got there, I was lifted up into a kind of dentist chair in the treatment room. The doctor had a round mirror strapped to his forehead, and he looked into my mouth and up my nose. So his mother asked him not to worry, and they walked to the doctor's house. So students, you should point here. Means usually if we talk about today, then if something happens, we go to the doctor in a car or by any other vehicle. Actually, he is going for an operation and he is walking to the doctor's house. There he was made to sit in a chair, and this chair looked like dentist chair. Now, students, you might have visited the dentist, and you know there you will find special chair. If you have not seen it, the picture is given in your textbook, and if I will show, it's here, the next page. The doctor had a round mirror attached to his forehead and he was looking into the writer's mouth and nose. Then he took my mother to one side and had a quiet talk with her. I saw my mother looking very serious as she agreed to what he was suggesting. I watched the doctor as he boiled some water in a metal mug. He then placed a long, thin, shiny instrument in it. I was not frightened or worried, as I was too young to realize that something out of the ordinary was going to happen. So, the doctor takes the writer's mother to one side and had a talk with her, and she looked very serious. So then he sees the doctor is coming back and he boils some water in a metal mug and puts his shiny instrument to it. The writer was not worried because he was too young to understand that something extraordinary is going to happen with him. Then a nurse entered. She tied a red rubber apron round my neck. It was very big. Then she held a curved bowl under my chin, its curve fitting perfectly against my chest. Students, at that time a nurse comes and ties a red apron around his neck and places a curved bowl under his chin. Now let's continue to read. The doctor bent over me, holding that long shiny instrument, and to this day I can remember it perfectly. It was as thick as pencil and had many sides to it. At the end, the metal became much thinner, and in this was set a metal blade at an angle. The blade was just a centimeter long, very small, very sharp, and very shiny. So now the doctor bent over him with his shiny long instruments. It looked like a pencil and had much sides. At the end it became thinner and had metal blades at an angle. Now the blade was very small, shiny and sharp. The doctor said in Norwegian, "Open your mouth." I refused, as I thought he was going to do something to my teeth, and from my past experience I knew that it would be painful. The doctor asked him to open his mouth, but he refused. It's because he thought the doctor is going to do something to his teeth, and he had a very bad experience with the dentist in the past. So today we will be doing only this much. In the next session we will be continuing with this story. Till then, read the chapter at home. Bye.